Okay, welcome everyone to the oral presenter information session Q&A. We are going to go through this. I don't have many slides. Most of what I'm going to do is going to actually be showing you what the websites look like and going over information. I'm going to keep it fairly short so that we can have as much time for questions as possible. So this is what we're going to go over. We're going to look at the information for oral presenters page on the ICEC website. And I really just want you to know how to find that and what information is there so that you can go explore it on your own. We're going to look at the presentation submission form. And if you could mute yourself when you're not speaking, that would be great. So I'm going to go over the presentation submission site, which is really mostly for our oral abstract presenters, though our plenary and workshop and symposium presenters may also use it if they just want to get some documents to us. That's fine. You can always also email me. We're going to look at the virtual event platform so you see what it looks like. And of course, we're going through your questions. We are recording the session, so if you need to reference it later, you'll get a copy of it later today or possibly tomorrow. Kind of depends on how long it takes us to get it from Zoom and then upload it to YouTube and send you the link. All right. I am also going to talk a little bit about presentation formats. So everyone who was invited to this is presenting in one of these 4 types of presentation. You are either one of our 6 plenary presenters, meaning you're presenting to our general session audience. You have a full hour typically to present, and there's nothing competing against you. There's no other sessions going on at the same time. Our plenary presenters were giving the choice of giving a live presentation versus a pre-recorded presentation this year. And if any of our plenary presenters need help with pre-recording, we can help with that. And then the deadlines for submitting slides and recordings, you can work directly with me on that. Since there's only 6 plenary presenters, we can be a little bit more flexible on that. Our workshops are presented live, so they don't need any pre-recording, but they may want a practice session in Zoom to practice what they are doing with participants. And if they would like to, reach out to me and we can schedule a practice session for you. We can participate in all or part of that practice session if you need some help figuring out Zoom features. And we will have a staff member sort of on call during your workshop as technical support. We would like to get your materials if you're doing a workshop so that we have a copy on file, so your slides or if you're doing any kind of other handouts. But also let us know if there's anything you want us to email out to the people who've signed up for workshops ahead of time, because we can do that for you too. Symposiums, we have 3 symposiums, and those are concurrent with our oral abstract sessions, but they were pre-organized and submitted sort of as a package to take up the full 90 minutes. We do prefer pre-recordings for these if you're doing a series of presentations, and then you could do live discussion and Q&A in Zoom after the pre-recording, but we can also be flexible on that if your vision of how the symposium will work is different. So just reach out to me if you have questions or want to talk about that. And then most of you are here because you're an oral abstract presenter. So you're giving like a 12-minute talk, and then we'll be part of a Q&A panel at the end of a set of 5 of those talks. You are required to pre-record your presentation. There's just too many of you. We can't manage the volume of possible technical difficulties that could happen with the 70 or so oral abstract presenters that we have. And the instructions that are on the website are really designed for the oral abstract presenters, with the instructions there and the deadlines that are posted, though everybody else might benefit from the instructions as well. So you are welcome to look at those. Okay, and with that, I am actually going to get out of the slideshow. I can figure out how to do that. And we are going to go look at the website. So 2021.ICEC, attendicec.org. I'll put that in the chat in case you are not sure of the website. That's our main web page. And as you see, we've got our little countdown happening on the main page. The place that you're going to want to go for presentation information is this presenting tab. And there's an info for oral presenters page there. And this page has several things that might be helpful to anyone, but especially to our oral abstract presenters. We've got a download section here, and that section has a badge that you can use to kind of show off that you're presenting on social media and your email signatures, things like that. We appreciate it when you use this because it helps us get word out about the conference too. But obviously this is all optional. Zoom backgrounds, if you want to use a virtual background for your live Q&A Zoom time that matches the conference theme like I'm using right now, we actually have 3 options for you. So you could download and check out which of the 3 you like better or coordinates with your outfit the best. Any of the 3 is fine. That's why we put them all there. And then the PowerPoint template, again, not required. You don't have to use the PowerPoint template, but if you like the template that I was using on my slides that I just showed, that is available to you, and you can use that to prepare your slides if you want. You just download it from there. Okay, and then we have some information here on best practices for preparing your slides, widescreen format in PowerPoint, information about, keeping the text simple. I'm not going to read all this to you. You can read it. Preparing a video presentation, so how to record yourself. I feel like most people have probably done this at this point, have figured out how to record themselves in Zoom. Again, if you have any really specific questions about this, feel free to email me, but we've got pretty good instructions here. And then CME and CEU requirements for presentations, and this applies to everybody. Because we do offer 4 different kinds of continuing education for 4 different kinds of professions, for physicians, nurses, social workers, and CHES or MCHES professionals. We have to do the things like putting a conflict of interest slide in your presentation to say, I have no conflict of interest, or if you do have a conflict, what it is. All this is pretty standard, but just as a reminder. And then if you are uploading slides and or a video, our oral presenters, we are asking for that by September 20th, which is a week from Monday. And the reason for that is because we have to edit all of those videos together, which is pretty time intensive. So we need to get it sooner so that we actually have the videos put together in time for the event. There's a button down here. We're going to look at that form in just a second. It also notes that you're going to be asked to log into the ICEC 2021 speaker portal. We're going to look at that in a moment as well. But that's where you update your profile, add a picture of yourself. Everyone should have already received an invitation to do that. And if you haven't, let me know. It could be stuck in your spam, and I can at least resend it and tell you exactly when I resent it so you know to look in your spam folders. The presentation submission form, when you click on that button, again, oral abstract presentation files due on September 20th. We're asking for your name, your new abstract number. So this is not the number that the system assigned you when you submitted your abstract back in March or April. We're not looking for abstract number 59 or 113. We're looking for the new one that came to you in an email that has your session number. So if you're speaking in session 1A, it will start with 1A. And then it'll be a hyphen and a number 1, number 2, etc. If you are not an oral abstract presenter, it might just be, you know, your name, like I'm plenary speaker Jen Aloisi, or which workshop you're presenting in. There are some questions here about having your slides posted for attendees to view, and also having your recording of your presentation available on demand after the live Q&A broadcast ends, and then places to upload your PowerPoint and your video. And that's it. That's the whole form. It's not that complicated.
Jen, can I interrupt
Yes,
with a question?
absolutely.
I'm Gwen Quinn, and I think Rebecca Block is also on here, and we're doing a symposium, and we are going to, we've scheduled a Zoom so that we can do it all together. Is that going to be a problem for this particular aspect? Because it won't be each individual thing, but all one thing?
No, that's fine. I think with the symposiums, we're a little bit more flexible just because we know you're working together.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. I will say, Gwen, if your file is too big and the form won't accept it with the video, we can do it by, you know, a Dropbox or a Google Drive or something. We can figure out another way to get the file if the form won't let you submit it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I worried about that.
Jen, are the file size limitations going to be increased this year? I ran into a problem just with my oral presentation and for the PDF of my PowerPoint, that it was bigger than the site would accept.
Just, you can talk to me about that. I think, Suzanne, if you try to do it and it's too big, just send me an email and we'll figure it out.
Well, I saved the PDF as a smaller file. I could do that in Adobe Acrobat, but it just seemed like it was kind of artificially small, that limitation.
Yeah, I'll check on what the size is and try to make sure that it's sufficient. But again, if you run into a problem, just send me an email and we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was going to show you the speaker portal because I referenced that. You should have gotten an email from FeedLoop, which is the platform that we're using, the virtual event platform, and it should have had a link in it that would take you to your speaker portal. And when you log in, this is what it looks like. And you'll see there are several things over here on the side tab. Probably the most important is this My Profile area. And I think a lot of you, if you gave me information, I put it in. So if I have your bio is here. But for some of you, the person who submitted your abstract was not the presenter. And so the bio that came in with your abstract was the bio for the person who submitted the abstract. So I don't necessarily have everybody's. And then also for the workshops, in some cases, I got like the main contacts bio, but not all of the presenters in the workshops bio. So that's something to check. I don't have most people's pictures. I did put all of our plenary speakers pictures in because I got that from them separately. And then contact information, if you want attendees, other speakers, etc., to be able to contact you. So if you leave any of this blank, it's just not going to show up. But if you want to share your Twitter link or your LinkedIn page with other attendees, you can just fill that in and then save the profile at the bottom. The sessions are just going to tell you what sessions you're a part of, which you probably already know. If you are part of more than one session, they'll appear here at the top in these tabs. Co-speakers are just telling you who is assigned as a co-speaker in your session. And my test speaker here doesn't have any co-speakers, so it doesn't list anything. The assigned tasks is really just a way to remind you of the things that you need to do. So, for example, if you have not already registered for the conference, and I'm saying this other than our plenary speakers, if you are a plenary speaker, I am taking care of your registration. You don't have to worry about this. But everybody else, you're supposed to register for the conference. And early registration ends on September 13th, which is Monday. So that's why we put in this due date of September 13th to help you get the least expensive registration pricing. This open link will take you to the registration page. And then when you're done, yours probably will look like this to start with. It says mark complete. You can just mark it as complete, and the system will stop reminding you to do it because it's already, you've marked it as complete. Same with updating your profile here in the speaker portal. Once you've clicked on this and updated it and you're satisfied, just mark it complete and the system will stop reminding you about it. And then uploading your presentation and your slides. Again, if you mark it complete, it will not remind you to do that anymore. So that's really the function of the speaker portal, is to give you some control over what your profile looks like and to give you reminders. I'm going to move on to showing you the virtual portal quickly right now. So when we come in to the virtual portal, it's actually going to look like this. It's going to look like we'll have a video. This is a placeholder video here on the front page right now. It's obviously from last year's conference, but on the days of the conference, this is going to be a different video every day from our planning committee members telling people what not to miss. You can see over on the right side, there's a chat section. There's a place for people to take their pictures and say hello, as well as a social media wall that people can scroll through. But the main event is going to be our sessions here. So when you click over to our sessions, and I want to look at this other test session first, there will be some sort of pre-roll video for every session. Most of it will probably say something to the effect of the session has not begun yet. It will appear on this page when it's time for the session to start. People can search their sessions here. So example, if I was in session 4B and I wanted to look for that, I could just type 4B and it filters automatically to that. They can click this little plus sign in the corner to add it to their personal schedule. And then if I wanted to filter to just my personal schedule, all the things that I've added to my checkboxes appear there. And they can filter by what's happening right now, by the tracks, by the type of presentation it is, by what day it's taking place, and by the speaker name. So if I really wanted to know what Brett was speaking in, I could just filter for Brett's sessions, and there they would be. And then to go undo it, I have to go click on his name again because it's got this check mark. I want to uncheck it. I made this session, test session number 1, live because I wanted to see that the broadcast of the presentation appears once it's time for the session to begin. So the recordings are automatically going to start. This is a presentation from last year, obviously. There are options here for audio. There are options to make this bigger. If I wanted to make it full screen, I could do that. So the video is big. I could make it a picture in picture, which I'm not even going to click on because it makes my computer mad when I have a lot of tabs open like I do right now. But theoretically, that makes a small video that is kind of a pop-up that you can then click around to different sections of the platform, and it still is playing the video small in a corner. You can see that we've got over on the right side, there's chat areas, and you can add emoji reactions to people's chats. There is a polls area. So I would say, especially for some of our workshop, symposium, and plenary presenters, if you wanted to poll the attendees about anything, we can set up polls for you. There's a Q&A area where people can ask questions and you can type a response, or it can be answered live. And there's a section where you can see who else is in this session. So in a real session, this would have quite a few other people here. And then people also can kind of collapse all of these sidebars if they don't want to look at them, if it's distracting them. Now, one difference, those of you who were in last year's event, there is a difference between how we transition from the pre-recorded sessions to the live Zoom Q&A. And for attendees, it's going to be so much better because they don't have to do anything. It's just going to appear here where this video is playing, the Zoom will appear. For you as a speaker, I will send you the Zoom link so that you will be able to do what you did last year, which was have this page up probably because you want to see where in the progress of playing back the presentations we are. You probably want to see the chat and the Q&A and all of that happening. And then you'll have your Zoom open as well so that you can talk to your moderator and maybe your other speakers and things before we go to the live Q&A. And then your headquarters, your ICEC headquarters staff person, when it is time, we are going to change the stream. We'll change it from the pre-recorded to the Zoom stream. And what that will do, it takes it a minute, but it is going to change the stream here on this page over to the Zoom, that information that has gone in. Let's see. Oh, it has not done it. Okay, so that's something that I'm going to have to work on because I thought that that was automatic.
So Jen, I take it then you're recommending that the question and answers are all held together at the end of the panel sessions versus anything after each panel session. Would that be correct?
I think that it can go, yes, it would be to the end because we'll be live streaming to the end. At the end, we'll be doing the Q&A at the end. So the Q&As could be answered there, but also if it was a simple question and your presenters are sort of monitoring this and they want to answer the question in real time while their presentation is playing back, I don't think there's any reason why they couldn't type in a response. And your moderators will, as they have in the past, also have questions prepared to help people with that. You can see that below our video here, we've also got our speakers with their bio and their Twitter and LinkedIn and website links that are there. the description of the session, which will have the 5 presentations listed, and then the files, which will be your slides. So other than me having to work on making the Zoom appear in this window when it's time, what questions do you all have about preparing your slides, preparing your video recording, getting stuff to me, or anything else?
Jan, it's Paula Nelson Martin, and I'm sorry I was a little bit late, but this is 2 hours earlier in Denver. So we'll submit 2 packets and we'll have PowerPoint slides and we'll have a presentation. Is that correct?
Yes,
And
that's true.
Did you say what you would like our presentation to be? Can we do that on Zoom? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I know how to do that.
So that's all on this page, the information for oral presenters page.
Oh,
There
great.
are steps on preparing your slides and recording your video.
Okay. And we don't need to make them sync. You'll make them sync.
Well, when you record your video, you'll record it with your slides up.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right.
Yeah.
But we still send it as 2 different things.
Correct. We want the slides separately so that we can put a PDF in the files section for people who want to download a PDF of the slides.
Oh, got it. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question, does the September 20 apply only to the people that are doing the recording, or all the slides, everybody's slides need to be uploaded on September 20?
It is primarily for the people who are doing recording. So for our oral abstract presenters and our symposium presenters. For our workshop presenters, it would be helpful to have the slides maybe a week ahead of time, just so that we have a copy in part, so that we have access if something goes wrong technically on your end. When it's your turn to present and you have to end up calling in on the phone, we have a copy of your slides that we can project for the attendees to look at.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Jen, when we're uploading our video presentation on that speaker portal, do we anticipate there being any problems with file size? 100 megabytes? I guess if you don't have a lot of, images and videos, I guess that seems okay. I'm not 100% sure, but
For a 12-minute presentation, it should be sufficient. But if it's not, if you record and you need a higher limit, you just reach out to me.
okay, awesome. Oh, and the other thing, when do we get access to the conference portal? Just when everybody else does, when it opens?
Yeah, so we're going to, one of the things we liked about this platform is I'm not really tied, I don't have to restrict access to it until, the day that the conference starts. So we were planning to give everybody access during the week before the conference. And that lets people kind of go in and poke around and get comfortable with it, and also build their personal schedule if they want to do that.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Jen, did you say the symposiums were 90 minutes?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
But that
so-
includes if you're doing like a live discussion and Q&A part, that includes that time.
Okay, I was just thinking so within our symposium, I think we have 4 presenters. And we were going to roughly have 15 to 17 minutes plus 10 minutes for questions. So I am thinking that of the file size of 4 presentations that are 17 minutes long each is going to exceed this.
Yeah, it might. So we can work on that a little separately.
Okay, I'll see if we can record it separately, because I'm also thinking even just for uploading, I think each abstract within the symposium has its own number.
It does. So I mean, if you really want to do it all together, you could do, I think, Gwen, you guys are 4C. So you
Uh-huh.
could put just 4C here where
Okay.
the abstract number is, and we'll know what you mean.
Okay,
Jen, coming back to the 100 megabyte file size limit for
Mhm.
recordings, is it easy enough for you at your end to make that limit a little higher, maybe 120 or so, or that might reduce some of the file transfer and work issues on your end?
I think so. Yeah, and then we usually, because the platform has file size limits on what we can upload, so we actually usually have to edit it through a platform that can compress the file size, because we can't get around their limit. We have to just do what they want us to do.
Okay, well, good luck with getting them to increase the limit.
Well, I can increase the limit on this form because this form is in my control. But it's just the limit on what we can upload. I mean, it was the same thing last year, and we just had to use, we have a particular video editing, web-based video editing software that we use that does a really good job of producing a compressed video size, but without losing a lot of quality. So we'll be using that again.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
Hi, this is Mary Chamberlain in New Hampshire. Thank you very much for this introduction. It's really helpful. I
Sure.
just was wondering during the oral presentations if there's somebody monitoring the chat questions for us, or do we do that as the presenters?
So you might want to look at them just because you would like to see them, and see if they pertain to your presentation. But every session will have both a moderator, a primary and a secondary moderator, essentially. And your primary moderator will record an introduction to your session. And then will also be the main moderator for the live Q&A part. In managing questions from the audience. They will have their own questions in case the audience doesn't have many, that they can pose to the group. And then your secondary moderator, most of what their job is sort of watching the chat and making sure that questions that come in on the chat don't get lost.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And I was wondering if these would be available only on the scheduled time, but will the presentations be available afterwards where there might be subsequent chat questions to address or converse? How long will these be available?
So like last year, it'll be available on demand for 90 days after the conference. You do not have to go back and check for additional questions. You can if you want to. You'll have access to it. Do that, but I don't think there's any expectation that you have to go back and like monitor the sessions for questions after the fact. If people have questions and you have included your contact information in your speaker profile, they can just reach out to you directly.
Great, thank you.
And I'll also show you when you're in the speakers, and I'll click on the speaker profile here. You can see it's got name and location. It's got the bio. It says what sessions they're in. And there's also this start chat, which starts a private chat with a person in the platform. So if I said, you know, I'm just going to send this to you. And Aaron was on here earlier, so he might see this when he first logs on. And it pops up over here in my private chats. And from there, people can even invite you to join a video call, though hopefully they'll only do that if you guys have chatted and agreed to have a video call. If random people send you a video call, you can just not answer.
Would there be any alerts to that chat conversation through email or anything, or
Yes.
would you have, there will be?
It comes through, that you see there's a little alert bell up here. So that shows you notifications. And you can see I have some red notifications. I don't have any new ones, but it will also, when you're in the platform, say during the week of the conference, there will be a little red window that appears up here when there's a new notification. And that's either somebody sending you a message, or it could be a notification, an announcement from the ICEC staff telling you, telling everybody, make sure you come to the plenary session that's starting in 5 minutes or something like that.
Great, thank you.
I was going to look to see, oh, look, we can look at Carolyn's. I hope she doesn't mind. Because she's already updated hers and put in her picture and her website and LinkedIn address. So again, she's got a
I
couple
don't
of
mind.
ways that people can reach out. Any other questions from anybody? If not, I'll let you go back to your day.
Thank you, Jen. This is always very helpful.
Okay, well, just email me if you have any other questions. I'm always happy to help.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Take care.
Bye.